Hi there, I'm Leon, co-creator of Concrete Allergy, and today I'm really excited to bring you a review of the Sheltowee 20-degree Boone Hammock and Bugnet. Now the hammock itself went on quite the journey to get to me here in Japan. I put my order in at the end of November, and Alex, the owner of Sheltowee Hammocks, was really generous in offering to try and rush it out to me. He sent it out on the 14th, a 2-week turnaround. That was fantastic. We were hoping it would get to me in time for Christmas, but sadly it got stuck in Chicago for about 2 weeks and didn't actually make it out of the US until the 28th. Then when it did get to Japan, it got caught in customs because everything was shut down for New Year's. It did finally arrive to me on the 5th of January, and I was extremely excited to get it. When I opened it up, I found that I had the hammock, and it came in a double-ended stuff sack. It's quite large, but if you use compression straps or a compression bag, you can probably compress it down to about, I would say, 2/3 of the size. So some pretty good space saving there. It also had my Bugnet. I ordered the Boone Topper Bugnet. It comes in its own little sack, but you can keep this on the hammock, so you don't need to have it in its own separate sack. You can keep it on there when you're using it. It also came with a nice cotton bag that you can use to keep your hammock in when you're not using it or when it's not being hung. So yeah, a nice cotton bag. And there were a couple stickers in there as well. One I put on my coffee cup, and one I still have, just trying to figure out what to put it on. Anyway, it took a while to get to me, didn't make it in time for Christmas, but I was super excited when it did arrive. I guess the big question is, was it worth the wait? Let's find out.
Setting up the hammock is pretty simple. In my case, I use Dutchware tree huggers and whoopee hooks. I simply attach the suspension, then I adjust the height and deploy the hammock directly from the stuff sack. This keeps the hammock off the ground and ensures that it doesn't get wet or damaged. After I attach the hammock, I use the Ultimate Hang app to check my hang angle and adjust as needed until I get close to the recommended 30 degrees. I was way off here, but made some adjustments. Of course, you can use the thumb and index finger trick as well, but I'm still pretty new to hammocks, so I use the app. The Boone Topper Bugnet was already on the hammock when I hung it, so I will review it first, then remove it so we can get a better look at the Boone Hammock. The Boone Topper is made of nano-seam material, which seems to be nylon. This makes it both lightweight and allows for some stretch. The trade-off is less abrasion resistance as well as increased UV degradation. Unfortunately, after my first night outdoors with the hammock, I did notice some wear and tear on the nylon. Hopefully it won't cause holes, but it did cause a little bit of concern. The Bugnet works by having tension on each end, which helps create a seal against the walls of the hammock or underquilt. This tension is provided using 2 shock cord pullouts, one at either end. The shock cord is easy to attach with a quick tie-on to my Vargo titanium nail peg. Now once I climb in the hammock, you can see how the Bugnet seals against the walls, essentially closing it off to flying critters. Due to the flexible nature of the nano-seam, the net stays sealed even when moving around. I do have a few small concerns with this system though. What happens if you don't have soft or even ground to attach the shock cord to? Will the system work without tying the ends down? Will the Bugnet still create a positive seal if the underquilt is pushed to the side for venting or in hotter weather situations when more bugs are more likely to be out in force? Will stronger critters be able to get into the hammock by pushing aside the netting where it seals along the wall? I'm talking about big spiders, snakes, cockroaches, alligators, bears, my kids, and other scary creatures of the night. Now the Bugnet is extremely easy to install and remove. It simply goes on one end of the hammock and attaches with a cord lock at the gathered ends of the hammock. The The net sits on the ridgeline and can be quickly installed or removed in 2 to 3 minutes. You can pack the hammock with it on, although this may damage the net as it rubs against the ridgeline. As I discovered the other night, it could cause a hole. As a result, I'll probably store mine in its bag from now on. The Boone topper itself is very well made, easy to take on and off, and weighs in at 130 grams on its own or 145 grams with the stuff sack. Easier to take on and off than my Dutch bottom entry Bugnet, more confident inspiring than the half-wit, the topper is obviously made to be a perfect fit for the Boone Hammock. The new zippered version probably answers and solves the questions I have about the topper, but for now I am happy with the flexibility that the removable version offers. So now that the Bugnet is off, let's take a look at the Boone Hammock in more detail. The Boone Hammock consists of a hammock and an integrated underquilt. The hammock is separate from the underquilt, which allows it to be moved side to side. This allows for venting or location adjustments. The hammock itself is made of 2.4 ounce Hexon fabric in olive brown. This fabric is low stretch and very comfortable to lay on. The Sheltowee website states that the hammock is rated for 400 pounds. The underquilt lower temperature limit can be specified when ordering, available in 12 degrees, 4 degrees, and -6 degrees Celsius. I purchased the -6 degree version. The underquilt has 10 baffles that run horizontal along the quilt. This prevents the down tech down from shifting too much in the underquilt. However, down does seem to collect towards the bottom of the quilt and needs to be fluffed and relocated when first setting up the hammock. This takes only a moment and will ensure warmth. The underquilt is a generous length, measuring about 186 centimeters long. There is a generous strip of fabric sewn along the top of the underquilt that acts as a splash guard and helps block wind and rain. It's a great design feature that helps keep cold air off your face when you sleep. As mentioned, the underquilt can be moved off to the side and is easy to slide left and right as needed, depending on how you lay in the hammock. At each end of the hammock there are a number of adjustable points to help ensure a warm and comfortable underquilt setup. On the outside shell of the underquilt, there are cable locks holding shock cord that is used to take up or let out tension on the upper shell of the underquilt. This keeps the shell taut and keeps it from hitting your face. Inside, between the hammock and the underquilt, there are 3 cable locks. 2 of them are used to adjust the vertical location of the quilt, pulling it toward the head or feet depending on the end you are adjusting from. There is also a horizontal shock cord and cord lock that adjusts the bunching of the quilt. This helps to prevent cold drafts from getting in between the quilt and the hammock. It can also be used to open things up if you want to vent a bit. There are also a couple mystery tie-outs along the ridge of the hammock. According to Alex at Sheltowee Hammocks, these are for an underquilt insert system that he's working on that will allow adding extra layers to increase the temperature rating of the sleep system. As you can see here, about 16 centimeters of the hammock is sewn to the underquilt. This is actually a pretty handy feature, as it keeps the hammock from getting twisted inside the underquilt. The hammock is 10.5 feet long, but Alex has mentioned that he can make custom sizes if people want longer hammocks. I'm 6'2", so for my height, the hammock seems to just fit. When I hang at an angle to get a flat lay, the adjustment poles are in my face and tap my head. This is slightly annoying, but the cord can be pushed out of the way. I did notice that laying off-center doesn't leave me much material at the shoulder. I'm not sure if this really matters, but I am constantly checking to make sure that I am not hanging with my shoulder off the hammock. I have also experienced some calf ridge with the hammock, but I think this is more to do with my setup than the hammock itself. I do miss the foot boxes built into my Dutchware hammocks, as the Sheltowee hammock has flopping fabric on the sides where my feet and head aren't. Again, these aren't deal breakers, and I find the hammock material to be comfortable, low stretch, and easy to sleep on. There are many little extras built into the hammock that show how committed Sheltowee are to pushing forward hammock design. The stuff sack with outside cord is great for carrying tarps or extras. Shock cord at one end of the stuff sack is excellent for keeping it on your hanging system. The included ridgeline organizer is well sized and a generous addition. The ends of the hammock can be used as small storage pockets for shoes, extra layers, etc. Packing up the hammock is fast and easy. Simply disconnect one end and stuff it into the stuff sack as you walk it back to the other end. Takes about 3 minutes until you get used to it, and then you can probably do it in half that time. I've spent about 7 nights in the hammock altogether, and my initial impressions are that it was money well spent and well worth the long wait. Now, a long-term review will come after I hibernate in the cold woods for a few months. I'll see you then.
The Boone Hammock is a well-designed, comfortable, and convenient sleep system that meets the needs of those that want to push temperature limits while keeping all the different pieces self-contained. There are a few areas I would like to see done differently, but many of them are only issues because of my body size, the way I sleep, and personal usage scenarios. For someone looking for a hammock and underquilt that doesn't involve the puzzle of mixing and matching the pieces from different makers, this is an excellent option. Alex at Sheltowee is professional, friendly, and responsive, and he seems to go out of his way to provide excellent customer service. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video and would like more information, would like to see some photos as well as the full written review, please take a look at our website, concreteallergy.com. If you enjoyed the video and would like to see more, please subscribe. Thanks again, and get out of the concrete.